Hi, I'm Norm.DeLaura, branch manager at Supreme Lending in Manchester, Connecticut. I'm here with LJ Bunker of Century 21 All Points, also in Manchester, Connecticut. We're here today. We're going to talk about a couple topics. One, we're going to play a little trick or treat, some questions that get brought up a lot, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about the commercial market and what some of the owners of commercial spaces are doing to convert into the residential world. So first, we'll play a little trick or treat. You ready?
Yes.
All right. I like our little go-to skull here.
Yeah.
All right. Question number one. I own my own business and don't show enough income to buy a home. Trick or treat? I'll take this one. That is a trick. And the reason for that is because there are loan programs out there for people that don't show their business income on their tax returns. Usually they're bank statement programs. And LJ, how many years do you, we've done these
2 years.
2 years. Typically it's 2 years. 9
Take
times out
notice,
of
real
10.
estate
Yeah,
agents.
take notice, exactly. If you're a real estate agent and you've been in the business for 2 years, you can use bank statements to be able to show your income. That is definitely a trick. All right. Number two. I don't need a buyer's agent. I'll use the internet.
Definitely a trick.
So the person shouldn't just get on the internet, hit Zillow or one of those other places, find a house and call the listing agent?
No, it's very, very important, as long as you want to have a representative and someone who's looking out for your best interests to make sure that you're, spending some time figuring out the right person for that job. And yeah, I would suggest that anyone who's considering doing that, conduct interviews.
So let me ask you this question then. What does a buyer's agent actually do?
What does a buyer's agent do?
Yeah, like what's the point of the buyer's agent? What do they do to help out with the buyer?
I mean, at a minimum, it's to, negotiate on your behalf. Make sure that somebody's there who's looking out for your best interests.
And make sure that the steps are followed properly.
Yeah.
Make sure that, because they've done it enough times, they know what to look for, all those type of, extra precautionary things to help the buyer out to the best of their advantage.
Yeah, set them up with the right lender. Make sure that they're, in a position to be looking at houses.
Always get pre-qualified first.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but at a minimum.
All right. Next question. I need to put 20% down to buy a house. Trick or treat? Actually, this is kind of like both. I'll say I'll do the trick part, and the reason why is because there are tons of loan programs out there where you can do no money down. There's loan programs with grant programs that you don't have to pay back. There's a bunch of loan programs out there where you don't have to put 20% down. But the way the market is right now, go ahead.
Yeah, in our current market, it certainly depends on what it is, where it is, how it's priced. In a multiple offer situation, 20% down is certainly going to set you up to be a bit more successful. But we're certainly seeing opportunities right now where people can take advantage of these programs. So
Definitely. All right. Next up, I need to sell my existing house before I can buy a new house. This puts me at a disadvantage. I'll take this one. So, a lot of people say, they're in a house right now and they're looking to sell it, but they got to be able to find another house to be able to move into, and they're kind of stuck because they can't, they're like, what do I do? What do I do? The money's tied up into the old home. And there's loan programs out there called bridge financing, where you're taking money out of the older home to be able to use it for the purchase of the new home. It's a short-term loan, so that way as soon as you are purchasing the new home, you already know your other house is listed. It's going to sell within the next month or so, especially the way the market is right now.
Right.
But the key to this is just make sure, like, if you think you're in that situation, talk to your realtor or your lender and ask about bridge financing and see if that's an option for you.
yeah, it allows you to avoid having to do a hubbard, which is going to hurt you.
Explain what a hubbard is.
A hubbard clause is a clause in a contract that basically says that your offer is contingent on the sale of your property that you own. So, it's one less thing for a seller to have to worry about in any competitive situation. It kind of makes you dead in the water. So bridge financing is certainly something you want to consider.
All right. Next up, I have such a low interest rate, I can't or shouldn't sell right now. Now, to me, that's a trick, and I'll tell you why it's a trick in my opinion. Just because I have a 3% interest rate, which I do have right now, but I also bought the house pre-COVID, and the house is up about $140,000 in equity. So if I was to sell right now, and then I use that extra equity that I gained over the past 2.5 years, I could use that money to put down on another house if I really wanted to move, to offset the higher interest rates and use that equity while I have it available to allow myself to move. So it's not always a trick, it's not always a treat. The key to this one is you should always check with your local lender who you work with and your realtor, see how the market is, see what it works for you, and it could possibly be the time to be able to buy and sell.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a treat in a way because just like Norm had said, you know, you are selling and you are more than likely, if you have that rate, in a position to be able to cash in and earn a significant amount of money for the home that you purchased. You then put that money down into the next home, now at a much higher interest rate, with the plan that when rates get better, you will refinance and you will avoid an even more competitive situation.
Correct.
So treat.
There we go. Awesome. All right, last one. You should buy a house right now while rates are high and refi later. And we just talked about this. That's a treat. Like I said, we just talked about this one. And basically it comes down to, if you can afford the mortgage payment, principal, interest, tax, insurance right now, and you find a house you really like that you can afford, buy now, because just because you wait, everyone else that's on the sidelines is going to come into that market next year, and it's just going to drive up the home prices even higher than where they are now.
Yeah, I believe that, you know, if you can suck it up and deal with it for now, you will save yourself an immense amount of money in the long run.
Exactly. All right, well, that was trick or treat. Figured for Halloween was pretty cool. Moving on to our next topic, and this is what I wanted to get to. The commercial real estate space, especially office space right now, if you read any of the articles on CNBC, or they'll tell you that the occupancy levels are having trouble, and the occupancy rate of those buildings are dropping because a lot of people are working from home.
Yeah.
You know, they found that working from home actually worked. There's no need to go to the office. Also, a lot of those buildings that have office spaces have adjustable rate mortgages because it's commercial, and those loans are coming due. That's why, if you notice, all the insurance companies, Cigna, Aetna, Travelers, the Hartford, they're all having their employees come back into the buildings because of this, knowing what's going on. What's a way, I know that one of your clients did a pivot, so if you could tell a little bit about what they pivoted to and how it actually works in this market.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple doors down from here at 893 Main Street, I have a client who has a entire second floor of the building, about 5,000 square foot, commercial tenant, was in the tech industry, and they moved out around the COVID time frame, and it was very difficult to try to find a new tenant to fill the space. So I had made a suggestion about looking into converting to residential apartments because of the strong demand, especially in this Manchester Main Street area, very up and coming. And that was about 2 years ago. He took advantage, I believe, of a grant from...
Yeah, the Manchester has grant programs to help people in the downtown area to be able to help with their keeping buildings upkeep, renovating, things of that nature.
Right. So I believe it took about, I don't know, I think it's been about 1.5 years or so, but they are finally complete, and we are leasing what I dubbed as Silk City Apartments.
Nice. And
our first tenant moves in tomorrow. There's 7 units in this space at this time. It's 3 one-bedroom units and 4 studio apartments.
Okay.
All brand new, obviously, and we are actively leasing.
Nice.
If you know anyone.
Definitely. And we'll put some information just so people can get a hold of you if they are interested.
Yeah. My office is 175 Main Street, right down the road. Phone number is 860-690-7456. LJsellsRE@gmail.com.
There we
I'm
go.
on all the websites, century21.com. Pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming today. Again, appreciate everyone that was watching, and we'll do this again next week.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.